Hello and welcome back everyone. My name is Erin and I am so happy to have you back on my channel. In this video we're going to be chatting about a very off-topic thing about living in South Korea and working in South Korea with the spread and outbreak of the coronavirus. It is a very hot but also very sore topic that is full of information, and I just am here to firstly obviously tell you about my experience, but also just to debunk some myths about it and hopefully spread more facts and less fear. So yes, it is incredibly dangerous and incredibly contagious, but it is not airborne. So people are so concerned about getting it, but really the people that are heavily affected are the older population, those with a compromised immune system, and yeah, just basically the old and the sickly. So I personally am not even worried about contracting it, not that I don't think it can't happen, but because I know that I will be well cared for and that it really is just a flu. And obviously I would really not like to contract it, but that isn't one of my fears, and dying is certainly not a fear of mine if I did contract the coronavirus. But the thing that we focus on the most is just staying safe and not contracting it, and if you do contract it, not to spread it. So we have had our Hagwon ask the children not to come to the Hagwon, which means we are only going in for a few hours every day to lesson prep or to try and teach the kids via phone teaching, because they are worried about obviously public areas and public situations, which I do think is very fair and very safe. But luckily people have asked all the time, what about traveling? They are actually sanitizing the buses, which I think is very useful. So before I get onto tips and my experience, I'm just going to quickly debunk some myths about it. So I've done some research and got my little handy notebook, so I'm just going to chat about that real quick. So yes, it is very contagious and it can be on chairs and trolleys and doorknobs and things like that, but it does not live, the coronavirus does not survive very long, and it is a very short amount of time. So people worry about like, what if someone like coughed on it or whatever, but I guess the splutters is what they're worried about, and that doesn't last very long. People were worried that it could be detected hours later, but just because it could be detected does not mean it survives. So that is not a fear. The most important thing would just be to wash your hands with hopefully warm water and soap, or to use hand sanitizer. I think it's just clever to keep your hand sanitizer with you at all times. The next one was, I think this should go without saying, but people were saying, can you spread it via handshaking and kissing? Yes, of course you can. So don't handshake and don't kiss people for the time being, if that's right. Obviously your loved one's different, because if you're living together, you're probably just going to give it to each other. So kiss away in that sake. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Next one, it is not transmitted in food unless someone coughs on it. So your server or your preparer, unless they coughed on it and you eat it quite quickly afterwards, other than that, it is not transmitted in food. And your pets, research has shown that they are not able to contract it nor spread it as of yet. So that's really great news for your pets and for you. Places like Cambodia, Japan, South Korea, Thailand, Indonesia, Italy, Singapore are all places you should be wary of. If you're staying in them and you have coughing or high fever or just general flu symptoms when you come back from those places, or if you are living and working in those places like we are and you show those symptoms, you should absolutely go get tested. That is not a far cry and not an outlandish thing to do. Definitely go get tested. We are incredibly blessed in South Korea because the government is really nailing down on it. But actually, let me get back to that. Let me get to this and then I'll talk about my experience of it. The next one is masks. People are saying, do the masks help you not get the coronavirus? No, they do not help you not get the coronavirus, but they do help you not spread the coronavirus. Which mask should you be wearing? You should be wearing the K95 mask, is the most effective, but the K94, which is also a fine dust mask, they say is also alright for not spreading it. The next one says, can I receive packages? Yes, you can receive packages from China. That is still okay because the coronavirus would not have lasted on the package. Then they say places not to travel to, obviously the listed places, but also Wuhan, which I thought was quite hilarious. Then people said eating garlic will help me not get the coronavirus. That is a myth. They also say that spraying your body in alcohol will help them not get the coronavirus. Also a myth. Washing your hands is honestly, I think, the most has been shown to be the most effective way of not getting the coronavirus. They were saying, where did it come from? It did, people are 90%, scientists are 90% sure that it came from bats, either from the Chinese eating bats or just coming into contact with the bat's blood, and then touching their face, being their mouth or their nose, something like that. So let's go to just my experience with it. In terms of Korea, if there was anywhere I would want to be in the world where an outbreak or something like the coronavirus did have an outbreak, it would be Korea. They have been so incredible, just informing us, the general public, but also businesses. It's not a ghost town. Life is continuing as normal, but things are far more quiet. The streets are far more quiet. People are scared, so people are staying at home, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think businesses, yes, are losing money, but they really are nailing down on the spread of the coronavirus. And people are asking, why is it spreading so steadily? Why is the spread rising so steadily in South Korea? And I honestly think the answer is that they are testing so frequently and are so open about testing. I think in some places they're like, I don't want to get tested in case I have it. But the people here, the mentality that I love is they're all about the bigger picture. And so they really see, okay, we want to contain the spread, and if I have it, I don't want to spread it to my loved ones, especially the older population. And that is who is at risk, is the older population and children. So not children, the older population and those with a weak immune system. Children are, funny enough, not really at risk for contracting it as much. Very interesting, because that would be something you'd be worried about, because they don't wash their hands as well, or as frequently. So interesting, but yes, the older population and those with a compromised immune system are who everyone is worried about coming into contact with. And so I think if you do show any signs or symptoms of it, then definitely do stay away from those types of people, of course. So then the other thing is that what I love about South Korea is they're disinfecting the buses. So people are worried about traveling in South Korea, but the place that they would be scared of it would obviously be in the bus. The other thing is that everyone is wearing a mask, so that is really containing the spread, hopefully, to themselves if anyone does contract it. But yes, it obviously is incredibly infectious, so it is something, and contagious, kind of same thing, but it is something to be aware of. Also, we have emergency messages between 1 and 8 a day. They are really invasive and really loud, and they vibrate, and if you're in the gym, they blare through the speakers, and they let you know, they remind you daily just the procedures to take, so things like wearing a mask and washing your hands, but also let you know in your area, your network provider knows what area you live in and will let you know in your area where there have been more cases. So they're so good at informing the people about what's going on. And yes, but I think the scary thing is just that the money that businesses are losing and that schools are losing and hagwons, and obviously we are now not at work full time, so we worry about our pay and things like that. But I do believe that they are going about this the best way that they can possible, and I really want to let everybody know all over the world that it is, yes, it is scary and it is an outbreak, but just to have peace, that if you're doing everything you can do, which is, I mean, if you're really scared, you can eat at home if you're worried about servers. But other than that, it's really wearing your mask, and it's washing your hands and carrying around some disinfectant when you can't, or when you don't have access to soap and hot water. Or it doesn't even have to be hot water, really. Just soap those hands up, and obviously make sure to wash your hands more frequently than you ever have in your life. And yes, just stay safe and stay positive, and don't be afraid to continue your life. Just be more wary and be more cautious, I suppose. So yes, I'm still fine, we are still happy, we're still living our lives, but yes, it is something that is obviously concerning. And obviously there's been parents come back to our countries, but honestly I've never felt safer and more cared for than I have in Korea. And there is obviously procedures for if you contracted in Korea, and there is a website, I think it's called Corona-Live, well that's the website URL, that you can go check in which area it is and where it's rising so steadily, and or where it's rising quickly, or how many cases are in that area, so you can go check that out, and maybe don't travel to those places if you are concerned about it. But other than that, I would say just stay safe, stop spreading the lies, and just know that if you do everything you can do, you can be safe, and that the Korean government, and I'm sure every government, is doing everything they can to contain the spread as much as they can. So yes, I'm happy and safe, and I hope you all are too. See you next time!